Kids born to teen moms. How different is your life compared to other kids? One of my friends has a teen mom. She doesn't talk about it too much, but she says that it's nice how all family members' great-grandparents are still alive. Ideally, they should have the advantage of multiple caregivers. I would think with everyone still so young, everyone is still working versus having older retired grandparents. When friends would come over for the first time growing up, I'd get a lot of, "I didn't know you had an older sister." I don't. That's my mother. Also, since my mom and I are only 16 years apart, we ended up liking a lot of the same music, which made going to concerts a lot easier, because we'd often wanna go to the same shows. So, I've definitely seen a lot more bands than friends. I was 20 when I had my daughter and people often asked if we were sisters. My daughter was always horrified when people assumed we were sisters. When she started 3rd grade we had just moved, so she was in a new school. She came home a couple days into the school year declaring that I had to start dressing like an old person, because then maybe people wouldn't assume we were sisters. We laugh about it a lot now, many years later. Funnily enough, I kind of have the opposite story. My oldest sister and youngest brother are 18 years apart. When she took walks with the youngest in the park when he was around 1, a lot of people assumed she was the mother. I went to school with a girl who had her first child at 14. She had 2 more before graduation. At the age of 28 she became a grandmother. The child-born's great-great-great-grandmother was alive and only 82. If she lives until 96, she can meet her great-great-great-great-grandkid. I feel like that's approaching some human record. That would be like Jonathan Joestar meeting Jarline. My mom was 18. So my aunt and uncle are only 10 years older than me. My uncle is 6 years, so I got to do all kinda of rad stuff with my aunt and uncle like skateboarding, surfing, snowboarding. They were and are more like a brother and sister. Real dad as opposed. My mom fell in love at 20 with a 40-year-old. They are still together 38 years later. Raised me like his own. He had 5 other kids. So I had all kinds of brothers and sisters and tbh a better life there, if my real dad stuck around. Parents still trying to grow up and learn life lessons 10 years later because they never really had the chance to while raising you. It's kinda cool though, cause then, if you're aware enough you also pick up on it. My mother resented me. Still does actually, but it's lessened over the years. It was apparently my fault she missed her teen years. So she dropped me off at a relative's in another state when I was a toddler and hitchhiked around the country for a year. As I grew up I was screamed at and beaten for looking like my biological father. She didn't trust me a bit because of it. I had to get permission to step outside to get the mail. Couldn't bathe myself until I was a teenager. Couldn't do homework with others. I don't think it has ever occurred to her I'm not guilty of anything. But in her eyes, being my father's daughter is enough. I'm so sorry. I've noticed that I didn't have the same opportunities as other kids, because being a teen mom can lead you down a road of struggle and poverty if you don't have help from family. I've always wanted to play sports, but she could never afford the equipment needed at school to be a part of it. Mentally, I've had to mature faster at a young age because she was still a kid herself. It's unnerving to think teachers would tell me I seemed older than my age at 10 years old. I still remember not being able to afford soccer seasons for my daughter, and it still hurts. My mom wasn't a teen when she had me, but she started having children when she was 14 and was basically pregnant every other year. I was her 6th child at 25, and she had 11 children in total. She doesn't remember or know exactly who my biological father is, lol, so yeah. My mother resented me and the freedom I had as a teen and young adult. I got to do and experience so many things she didn't get to by choice. On her side, I come from a long line of teen moms, but I didn't make that mistake. I was 27 when my daughter was born. And my daughter is almost 22, and no kids. Yet so the cycle is broken on our branch at least. Jesus Christ, dude, you hit the nail on the head with this one. My mother never wanted me to succeed out of pure jealousy, and would sometimes go to great extents to stop me from succeeding at something. Okay, you guys are inadvertently helping me understand years of neglect and hateful behavior from my mother. Thanks. This is much cheaper than therapy. My mom and I are really close. She had me at 14. Growing up, I noticed a lot of my friends didn't get along with their moms. I always thought she was really relatable. We go eat, go shopping, get coffee, gossip, just hang out. She worked a lot, sometimes multiple jobs at once, so I felt like I did less extracurricular than my friends. But I was pretty happy growing up. She is always concerned with money. I'm starting to notice that she's not very good at saving money or planning retirement and whatnot. I once asked a family friend, now that us kids are grown, how are my parents still living paycheck to paycheck? She explained that, in her opinion, my mom basically skipped learning how to take care of herself as an adult. Instead of learning how to effectively adult, she focused on taking care of her kids. I will forever be grateful for my mom and the hard work and sacrifices she endured to raise me and my siblings. I agree with this. I was 19 when I got pregnant. Was definitely not ready to have a child. I have money at the end of every paycheck, but I'm terrible at saving. I focus very heavily on making sure my 2 children have everything they need and are signed up for activities that I wasn't able to participate in. My credit isn't the best either, but that's due to medical debt from my oldest being special needs, which I'm working on. I hope that by the time they are older I'm able to help them navigate finances like I was never shown how to. My teen mom, less money, less patience, dated more men, has been divorced several times. My so's teen mom, lots of money, lots of patience, dated 2 men, only divorced once. I think it is more the person than the age that makes a difference. Edit. The reason my mill had more money is because she had a good personality and was able to get good jobs. She was able to advance her career, was financially responsible with spending, worked very hard to get her college degree, and this was 40 years ago, so the cost of living and wage were more comparable. The reason my mother didn't have more money, she is hard to get along with and struggled to get a good job. When she did get a good job she was not financially responsible. The divorces caused her to lose most/all of her gained sums because she chose to walk away rather than split assets. My mother also got a college degree and still struggles with jobs because she argues so much. Lastly, none of the worst strippers/escorts. They are very close in age. Both had little/no parental support, my mill having moved to the US away from the Philippines and my mother was kicked out. Thank you and good night. I met every one of my grandparents, and some of my great-grandparents too. Mom had me when she was 16 and dad was 20. I got to meet 2 great-grandparents who were born in the late 1800s, and one born in 1910 to 1920. I can't really remember one of them, but the other 2 I do. The youngest one was creepy AF. She practiced Appalachian folk magic. I'm 38 and my great-grandmother just died last year. She was the oldest person in New Mexico. She got to meet 6 of her great-great-grandchildren. I was a teen mom. I asked my 16-year-old what differences he saw from himself and friends, and his response was not much difference other than we are more likely to like the same music. Plus, since he never lived the other side, it's kinda hard to really know what is different. Unless you also have a kid right now. Sometimes I think my mom's life would have been better if I wasn't born, or at least born, when she was an adult. Hey guys, sorry I deleted my post because I started to get harassed over it. If you have questions you can inbox me, Pros. I know my great-grandma. Cons. I don't know my parents. Lesson to take out of this. Don't have children as a teenager.